Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start off with a show of hands. Who here has visited the zoo before? Okay, a lot of people. And actually, Devin Scow, a campaigns associate for wildlife conservation, found that 700 million people visited zoos in the year 2024, which is not surprising at all because it's a fun, family-friendly activity that gets you out of the house for 2 hours, and you get to see cute little animals. But I can bet that when you're walking around and looking at each exhibit, you're not realizing that you're funding animal captivity. And I'm guilty of doing the same exact thing. But that's what I'd like to discuss today, bringing awareness to the effect captivity has on animal well-being. See, a few years ago, I came to the realization that animal captivity is not okay by any means. And one animal did that for me, and her name is Kiska the orca. See, Emily Rapp, an environmental science journalist, found that Kiska had been in captivity for 40 years and was labeled the loneliest orca in the world. And she died in 2023 from a bacterial infection. But see, it wasn't the 4 decades of captivity that caught my attention, or the fact that she lost 5 of her calves, or even for the last 10 years of her life, she was truly isolated because her tank mate was sold to SeaWorld. No. There's a video of her in 2021 banging her head and her body up against her tank, and that struck me to my core. Because those are not signs of being happy, being content, or even playful. She was actually experiencing something called zoochosis. And the Defense of Animals, an international wildlife protection organization, found that zoochosis is a form of psychosis that develops in animals who are held captive in zoos. And you can recognize this behavior by them pacing back and forth, by them swaying, self-mutilation, over-grooming, repetitive movements, and self-harm, just as Kiska was experiencing. And we recognize these signs and we put a huge label on it, but do we put forth the effort? Do we take the time? Do we even have the patience to truly understand what these animals are going through? I'll put it in perspective for you guys. My mom always tells me, Bella, when I'm older, just put me in a home. Put me in my recliner with my TV and my Kardashians streaming. I said, Mom, of course, because I know there's someone there for you that is trained, educated, and ready to communicate with you to meet your needs. But here's the thing, we don't have that opportunity with animals. So the best we do is take an educated guess, or most of the time, do what's easiest. But I do have to say, some animals might want to wash their Kardashians too. But it's still our responsibility to make sure the mental and physical well-being of these animals are being recognized due to the unnatural state of mind they are in, rather than focusing on the entertainment and profit factors. Now, I do want to say, not every last zoo is bad, but I fear there's a huge misconception around them. Whether that's people thinking they're educational, they're for the endangered species, or even for the rehabilitation factors. But I'd like to ask you guys a few questions today, and I really just want them to sink in. We say zoos are educational, but how much are we learning from an animal that's not acting like its natural self? We say it's conservation, but how many animals are actually being released back into the wild? And lastly, here's my huge concern. And I often think about this, are we prioritizing their experience or our life? No, are we prioritizing their lives or our experience? And I do have to come clean with you guys. I'm guilty once more. I visited our local Norfolk Zoo a few months ago. I know, tomatoes, tomatoes. But I needed to show you guys what I've seen through my eyes. And here's the truth. It's the cages. It's the small spaces. It's the little land that these animals get to roam. You're telling me we're putting giraffes who are 6 foot tall from birth, some say they're living the NBA dream, and then we have these beautiful rhinos who are the 2nd largest land animals, and we're putting them in these lifeless, untrue to their environment, small, depressing cages. I mean, I would develop zoochosis too. But here's the issue. Now we're telling them where to sleep, when to eat, what tricks to do, even who to mate with. I mean, you're telling me we're taking away these animals' ability to sniff around and see what butt they like the best? How inhumane is that? But I do have to say, that wasn't the only thing that caught my attention. It was the backdrops, the wallpapers. I mean, there's no signs of life in these exhibits, such as a simple plant, a bush, a tree. It's like walking into Barbie's dream house. The carpet's a sticker, the window's a sticker, the fireplace is a sticker. But this just isn't a dream house at all. But this did get me wondering, well, what is it actually like to put an animal's needs first? So I interviewed Snow White herself, my good friend, Lonnie McCarthy. I say Snow White because she always has injured animals coming to her and she fosters them. It's beautiful. But anyways, she's a vet assistant at an animal hospital. And so I asked her, I said, well, what could zoos take away from the practices of animal hospitals? And she says, Bella, me and my coworkers, we come in each day and we see these animals that are scared, depressed, anxiety-filled, and they are coming in for checkups, sometimes involving needles, or they're sick or injured. So we have to read their body language and make them most comfortable in the time we have with them. And she tells me, she goes, Bella, I wish zoos would take the time to analyze the animal's necessities, do what is best for them, and make it as natural as possible. But guys, these things are so easily accomplishable. Because guess what? They have been accomplished by national parks, rehabilitation center, conservation programs, and ethical safaris where animals aren't trapped behind bars but roaming freely in the wild as they intended to do. Yet somehow we still have these zoos, even aquariums, or the animals at Busch Gardens who are being punished with captivity. Now, if you guys were to remember one thing from my talk today, it'd be that animals are not criminals. And that idea is represented right here. Now I'll give you guys a few seconds to spot the difference from my artwork. Okay, now, if you found that one is man and one is animal, kudos to you. I'm glad we got that far. But the true difference I want you to recognize and remember is that one of them is in there because they made a choice, while the other one is in there because we made that choice for them. And that is the difference we can't ignore. Thank you.